Hi, I'm Christopher, and I'm here with Stuart with the Northwest Event Show, and we're sitting here with Aaron Shook, who's the general manager with Ocean 5 here in Gig Harbor, and he's also the vice president with the Seattle chapter of NACE, which is the National Association for Caterers and Events.
We do a lot of networking, we do a lot of things like that. I mean, we do it in our industry, but all industries do it. And networking almost always revolves around simply food and beverage.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm in the business of selling food and beverage. I want to sell that. But it doesn't have to just be that. And so we can do really fun networking events that still have great engagement around activities. So those people that don't drink or maybe have challenging dietary restrictions, they can come and have a great time, and they don't feel as awkward about the fact that the only thing that there is to do is something that they can't do or take part in.
You know, it's great because I remember when I had my first conversation with you a while back. You know, I think we're very aligned with some of the things that we hold as far as values. But a lot of these things that you talked about, they weren't even on my radar, in all honesty, right? Because we're not thinking about these things. And I'm a big believer we don't know what we don't know. Yeah. To that point, and I know you're going to be talking about this as well for the show, but what are some of the things that we could incorporate or do a better job of introducing almost immediately to make some actionable takeaways for the events community that you're seeing or trends that you're finding out there? Yeah,
I mean, I think, break it out into the different pillars, but I think one of the, go after the low-hanging fruit. I mean, there's really quick and easy things we can do in the events industry. And when we think about that environmental side, the events industry is one of the filthiest, most we produce more waste than probably a lot of other industries. And I know Stuart and I talked about this.
Yeah.
We've walked back after a show before, and you look on the dock, and the amount of garbage that's piled up back there after a trade show or a conference is insane. And most of that waste goes directly to the landfill because we don't sort it well. And that's a really easy thing we can focus on in the events community, is just managing our waste stream. And the impact on the planet from that waste stream is significant. I mean, not only does it produce methane gases that affect our atmosphere, but it also goes into the oceans and waterways. It pollutes the groundwaters. There's a ton of impact from that landfill. So reducing landfill and managing waste stream is probably the thing we can do the easiest. You can ask your caterers to use compostable products. You can work with your convention center or your meetings venue to manage that waste stream into ways that you can be confident that it's actually going to get to recycling or compost facilities. There's a lot you can do around that. I think when we talk about social sustainability, social responsibility, just making sure that we're really focused on inclusivity. And I think that that's the area where we can probably spend the most time right now, because I do feel like there's a lot of work we can do there. Making sure that we're focused on great ADA compliance, so that our disabled and impaired individuals that are still a part of our community can attend those meetings and events and not feel like a lesser attendee. Making sure that caterers can accommodate dietary needs without, 10 years ago, I'm in the food and beverage business. I can't tell you, I was just as guilty. 10 years ago, we'd get gluten-free requests or non-dairy, and we hated it. We fought it tooth and nail. We're like, oh my God, why are we getting so many of these requests? My mentality has shifted now. Those requests are important. Like, why should those individuals that have those needs feel any less involved or less engaged than attendees that don't have those restrictions?
Or have a different experience. Like, why can't that experience be the same for just everybody who's attending?
Yeah.
So obviously Ocean, the name Ocean's 5, Ocean, we're kind of saving the oceans. What is the 5? That's the 5.
5 great oceans.
Are there 5 great oceans?
Mm-hmm. There are 5 great oceans.
Maybe there's 7 continents.
There's 7 continents, 5 oceans.
I'm not figuring this out.
But it's really about connectivity for us. And so it's not just about the oceans, it's about the connectivity. So when you look at the planet, we are connected by those 5 oceans globally. So that was a big piece of it for us.
Got out that I don't know that there's 5 oceans.
You do now, see?
I thought there was, so, think about the 7 continents.
Not only can you have fun here, you can learn here.
Those will be actually at the Northwest Event Show. You'll be speaking at the Northwest Event Show on sustainability.
Yeah, we're putting a panel together. We'll have some really great individuals that are going to talk around sustainability and how it relates to the events world.
And then we have a panel on inclusion, so we'll be actually taking a lot of steps towards inclusion. So Northwest Event Show is really working on to adopt these steps as well.
And we have a committee in place that's looking at these areas, and we're going to start small this year. We're going to focus on the things we think we can really impact this year, and then hopefully next year we can just keep growing and getting better at what we do. But those are always transitions that have to happen kind of slowly over time.
I can see where if people do just one individual event, it seems like an isolated, just one-time activity. I think sometimes it might be hard for them to see that it's connected to all these other things.
Well, think about the global impact of the meetings industry. We have attendees that come from all over the region, the country, the world. And when they attend those meetings, they're going to notice things that are happening around them. And if we're vocal about the things that we're doing, they're going to take that back to their communities. So having a partner like Washington State Convention Center that can be committed to showcasing and highlighting their efforts to manage the waste stream effectively. There's Portland Convention Center does a fantastic job with this. Having those partners that are committed to showcasing that, you're going to have attendees from all over the world that might be from smaller communities that don't support these initiatives, that might be from countries that don't even have infrastructure or capacities. They're going to see this happening. They're going to remember that. They're going to take that back to their communities, and they're going to understand the importance of it. So I think we in the meetings and events industry have a huge impact on the global effort towards being responsible stewards.
An opportunity to lead.
Right. Yeah.
And it should be one of those areas where we should not be ashamed of really kind of boasting about it, because the more we talk about how our events are being sustainable, it obviously is great for the event, but it does create awareness too, right? Like letting them know, like, hey, we're purposeful in what we're doing here.
And it leads by example. And that's where we start. That's how we have to start.
Yeah. And it goes back to the community side too. Then we can start supporting those businesses that are aligned, that are contributing to that as well, and make sure that we continue that path. And like I said, all those pillars that we're talking about as well.
I'll relate an example of where I think, and this is a very small example, but I think that this kind of indicates how the market has changed, how our perceptions have changed over the last 10 years. So 10 years ago, you couldn't find a product that they could compost that wasn't organic. So when we think about that, think about like the compostable plastics that we use now. You couldn't find them. They were out there. You could get them if you really dug. Fast forward a couple of years, Cisco, US Foods, FSA, they started carrying some of the eco-ware products. It was 15 to 20% higher cost on those products than the traditional plastic version of that same product. Within 5 years of responsible people asking for that product, the price came down and is now almost equal, if not equal, to what the alternative plastic cost would be. And that happened because we kept shouting that we needed it. We kept buying it. We kept saying we need this. Now we have really great available products throughout. We have a city that has banned some of those traditional plastics, and we have an infrastructure that can support it. But that wouldn't have happened if leaders in the industry hadn't been shouting for that product. So that's just one of those lead by example initiatives. But had we left it to, producers to try to drive that, it would have never happened. It had to be the consumer that drove that, and we saw it work in that.
What do you think is one of the biggest misconceptions or biggest hurdles that you think we need to adopt to help us overcome our misunderstanding of?
I don't know if it's a misconception. I think the thing we have to overcome the most is the feeling of being overwhelmed or maybe not knowing where to start with being responsible stewards. I think that that's probably the area that is trickiest. I can't tell you how many people I talk to that are just like, I just don't even know where to start. You think about it, there's thousands and thousands of different things you can do to reduce your footprint. I mean, you can look for alternative protein solutions. You can use different products when you're building your business. You can source locally and responsibly. Like, there's all kinds of different things you can do. And it's overwhelming. And plus, then you try to get into the research of it, and there's so much misinformation out there. There's products that are produced that claim they're natural or that they're responsibly produced, and they're not.
Yeah.
And so it's overwhelming. And so I think what we have to overcome and what we need to get people to really think about is they need to narrow their focus a little bit. They need to come up with one concept that they're going to stand behind. For us, it was save the oceans. What we said is, okay, we're going to do everything we can to make decisions that support healthy oceans. Everything else, we may get to at some point. We may take on other initiatives down the road, but right now, that's our litmus, and that's the thing that we're going to hold all of our decisions against. And we're, quite frankly, terrible at it. We do better than a lot of other people, but we've got a long ways to go, and we're going to keep getting better at it. And that's the thing, is you've got to start at a point. Don't try to tackle the whole bear. Just pull it down into a manageable package. Pick what your battle is going to be. It might be that you're just going to eliminate straws. Maybe that's going to be your thing. And that's okay. That's a great place to start. It might be that you're going to offer alternative protein solutions for your menu. One of the largest contributors to greenhouse gas is beef and lamb, and the production of that. And I don't remember the exact numbers on this, but just by reducing your consumption, your personal consumption of beef and lamb by 1 day a week, so instead of 4 days a week, you eat it 3 days a week, you take something ridiculous like thousands or hundreds of cars off the road. I don't know what the number is.
And we can quote you on that.
Quote it exactly.
Exactly.
Yes.
Fantastic.
But it has a significant impact, and think about if everybody around the globe did that. Reduce their consumption by 1 day. So that might be your thing. We offer jackfruit on our menu here, which is a hot new thing right now, but I'll be honest, down here, not a lot of people know about it. And it's a great alternative to traditional protein on your menu. So just offering things like that. So pick your battle, stick with your battle, and make that your challenge.
My first conversation with Stuart this morning was, looking from a business standpoint, just taking that one step. Just keep going. Whatever it is, just focus on that one thing. Just at least do that one thing and keep going. And I think things will kind of bolster up exponentially, right? You start getting other habits. You start picking up other habits. Things fall on your radar. You add that one additional decision or process, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just
I try not to overwhelm myself.
Find your battle.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So obviously, ocean. The name Ocean's 5. Ocean. Working on saving the oceans. Where's the 5? That's the 5.